Well, damn, gang. Cypher, thank you very much. We did have a blue screen of death, so that was fun. But double the fun, our file was completely corrupted, so it's gone. Oops. It happened right in the middle of a save, which does sometimes happen. Blue screen during save equals doom. So when I try and open it, it says the file is not compatible, so it's lost. Oh, dang. Well, now's the question, do we start a new thing, or do I go back and edit this guy? I don't know. Bummer. That sucks. Oh, it's happened with Magic before. You know, you just get used to it. We can paint it again, or we can start something new. I will take votes. Whatever you guys are interested in seeing, we can do a new one. Shit, I'm just hoping that we don't get another blue screen of death, because for me they tend to happen kind of like as a group. They're not. It's not like just a singular basis type thing. When it happens, it will continue to happen, or at least that's been my experience so far. So my big concern is if it does it again. That would very much suck the ass. All right, let's do a new. Let's do magic card size, because why not? Let's close our old alien. What a bummer. That one was so close to done. I have a feeling it would be worse if it wasn't just a piece that I was doing for fun. I'd be a little bit more butthurt about it, but that's all right. These things, they happen. No biggie. Well, I'm glad y'all came back. That was mighty nice of you, considering. So what happened on your end? Did it just go dark? I'm curious. You never left? Kilrathi, welcome. Donkers Bugsy, welcome. Yeah, I lost all the work when I tried to open the file. Let's bring it over here. So Goofed 1 was the previous version. Goofed 2 was the second one. When I double click, could not complete request. So it is a fully corrupted file now. There's a few things that we can try. We can try renaming it. We can try changing the. We could see if we can do this. Might crash the computer too. So just. Nope, invalid JPEG marker. I was expecting that. Yep, it's gone. Totally gone. Those are the last desperate attempts for something. On the upside, I can take a screenshot from the Twitch. We actually had it recorded. I don't think I saved a JPEG of it in that far along, but it would be pretty easy to just grab that and then paint it back up. Don't worry, guys. It happens. You got to get used to it. This will happen to you at some point, especially if you're using you know, really bitchy machines. All right. Let's see, something new. Born out of darkness and terror. A squiggle. I kind of liked working on something that was translucent, so I'm inspired to stick with that kind of, I don't know, something in that range. of material. But certainly not something as complex. Because I'd like to finish a damn painting one of these days. That would be great. Tao Mike, welcome. It's never happened to you and you're just waiting for it? Like the day of your death. Yeah, it does happen. It's happened to me on some pretty big gigs too, to be honest. You just kind of got to let it go. It's frustrating. Mostly, the file I'm not so worried about. It was like dropping off on you guys. Like I was much more pissed about that. So it is what it is. It's a bummer. I ain't gonna lie. But that one we'd lost. I'd say we lost what, 4 hours of work. So in the grand scheme of things, that's not too bad. I've lost much more work in the past. It happens. I think I'm painting some kind of beetle. You never had something quite like that happen? Let's do goofed. 23, why not? Life is short. You never had something quite like that happen, but blue screens of death while painting? Yeah. Honestly, Donkers, when this first happens, yeah, you'll give up painting for a little while. You'll be so pissed off, but it happens with enough frequency that you just kind of, you know, it's like when you trip or drunkenly walk into a pole. These things just happen, gang. Just gotta find something else that'll make me giggle while I paint. It's pretty simple so far. We're just trying to find some quick line work. You can sketch like this too. You use a hard brush, like a really hard brush. This one is just a little simple round. And you use your smudge brush together. And you can create some pretty quick variety in edges and shapes. I think we're gonna do just a quick value change for this whole section. That means changing the value key altogether. Well, we'll have to kill some of that cuteness. We'll make it creepy again somehow. Because it's not an Izzy painting without a little bit of creepy. Knowing me, nipples will be involved. Just saying, it's just a thing. Don't judge me. Oh my goodness. Goodness gracious. What's an insane experience thing? I missed something. Oh, how fast? Yeah. Yeah, just experience. Honestly, the thing that I've learned over the years with the experience aspect is that you always kind of have this, you kind of have a skill set already to start. You just don't trust yourself. And what you really gain with experience is the ability to say, yeah, I know that I can do this and it'll work out. And so you just learn to trust. Just trust, fam. Oh, you dirty birdies. You know I adore it. All right. I think we'll leave that one be big. Some kind of abdomen structure, maybe. Hopefully, like me, you are ignoring the election in the US and just trying to be as zen as possible right now and not freak the fuck out. Don't freak out, guys. Everything's gonna be just fine. Calmate. Well, I can say on the upside, my absolute worst fear for a Twitch happening has now happened. So honestly, we survived that. We survived the worst case scenario that I had imagined to start with. I'm sure new ones will arise and ones that I hadn't even planned, but that was actually my worst worry when I started, and we made it through it, and I'm okay. You guys are okay. I lost a little bit of art, but life goes on, and I'm pleased with that, at least. There was a time, not terribly long ago in the history of things, where I would have had a full-blown panic attack from that, so I'm really happy, all things being equal. It's like one of the things Bear Grylls eats. Nice. I would probably eat this thing with a little bit of, I imagine, butter and some pepper, chili, curry powder. Lazy, welcome. Glad you could join us. You missed all the action. How you doing, my man? It must be quite late. Another crit on Thursday and another jury on Friday. Oh my goodness. Well, I hope you get through okay. Oh, working. I am using the streaks of each stroke. Say that 500 times fast to help sell the contours of the critter here. So it's a cross contour effect. It's very useful with painting, and if you're going to have texture brushes, I think you really kind of have to do it, especially digitally. When you are painting texture brushes on a form, and you don't kind of try to adhere to the three-dimensionality of the thing, you're gonna find, especially digitally, it'll flatten everything out. You can get away with it a little bit more traditionally, but it's an easy gimme, so you might as well. Blender's been crashing on you every hour. Eesh. I did lose my musics, unfortunately. I'm trying to remedy that, gang. Sorry. Whoop. I see what happened. When I turned my computer back on, it connected to my headset. Come along now, you can do this. I have faith in you. Okay. My headsets are freaking out. They couldn't handle all those different connections. Everything is going wrong. So that's how you know it's going to be a good day. I didn't even notice I didn't have music because I was freaking out about losing the stream. Okay, now we're back on. Sorry, gang. You guys still there? You can still hear me? Just checking. Cypher, did you lose it? Did you lose me? It looks okay, but I can't tell. I trust nothing. No one. Okay. Let's do a quick, I think this time, because this is a very simple shape and critter, I am going to go ahead and do a selection and make it its own layer so we can paint on it alone, and that's much faster. The last one that we lost earlier was meant to be more traditional style painting, just painting in back and forth between background and foreground, but because we got screwed a little bit, unfortunately, I'm sorry guys, we're going to go ahead and do this concept art style and budget a little bit. Let's see, Cypher. That sucks. Yeah, when something like that goes down, then it's hard to, then you don't know what to trust. I think I'm gonna do some design here, do a little bit of shape alteration. Let's give him a little bit more rump. Get that bug booty going. Get that bug booty popping. You know, actually, I've got another friend of mine that's only been on and joined us once, and he says regularly he can't even get on Twitch. So I don't know what the hell's going on. Oh yeah, that's a booty that's popping. Oops. Next song, I reckon. Need something fresh. So when you guys are watching, what is it? What is the kind of stuff that you guys like to see the most? You like to see paintings get started? You here for the banter? Stories? You like to see the rendering at the end? What sort of things do you get up on Twitch for? Just my beautiful face? Well, there's a whole lot of face, so enjoy. There's a plethora of face here for everybody. And little buggy toes. I do kind of love his toes. I ain't gonna lie. There's some good toe action here. The initial design. Okay, cool. All right, and we're gonna copy all, paste that. We're gonna go ahead and get rid of these under drawings. We don't need them because now we got our buggy. He's on a separate layer completely. So much so that let's go ahead and let's alter the levels just a touch. Okay, maybe a little bit more than a touch. Okay, make a new layer. We're gonna clip to that. Let's save, just in case. We don't wanna lose again what happened. You're here for the hair. It is different all the time. I'm hearing that. The burps. Oh man, I got those in spades. I'm brewing some up for you guys. I gotta deliver. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys with this quickie. We're actually gonna do a little bit kind of a demo today, I guess, with this quickie that I didn't intend to do because we were doing more traditional stuff, but sometimes misfortune creates opportunity. So my goal when I'm doing a concept piece, let's say this is a little critter that I'm trying to paint up for a concept real fast, is to get the painting in black and white first up to about, I'd say 70-75%. And by 70-75%, I mean rendered in black and white alone. this is sort of a shortcut to get into color and make sure that your colors are going to behave with each other, so that when you're color picking and you have a palette and everything's worked out, it makes it so much easier. Let's go ahead and group these and save them for later. We don't need them now. There's a burp for you. Happens every time, like I said. Don't lose this cutie pie. I will do my damnedest not to lose our little grubby friend here. Let's do a lot of the stuff that I think I was planning to do for the brain monster. I'm gonna do a little bit of material stuff real quick. We're totally gonna do this filthy fast concept art style. Talking the other day about speed painting. We're gonna try and at least get the first 70% done speed painting, actual speed painting style. Oh yeah, he gone. He gone forever. Save again. Well, it's not entirely lost. You can go back. The sort of clip, I guess it is now, of the first, I think, 15 minutes of the last of earlier today is here on Twitch, saved in memoriam. He's not gone forever. So you can see kind of where I was when it happened. Sorry for my silence, gang. I'm just trying to get us as quickly as possible to about 70%. I will certainly be leaning in and chatting though. Am I limiting myself from blurring all the textures out? How do you mean limiting myself? You dirty kids. My goodness. It's actually good to try and do these speedier ones every now and then because I get so caught up in doing illustration, as that's what I've been doing so much lately, that this is actually good practice for my day job, which I'm going to be needing to do a lot more concept art for in the coming days and months for the new IP. I can't wait to pitch it to you guys. I think you'll like it. It's a pretty good story. Okay, we are working out basically right now just one light source. It's my main focus. It's just this one light source that's kind of coming from, it's not quite camera, but just above our heads. I know that I definitely want to capture an interesting material with the overall carapace of our little buggy friend here. But my focal point will be his eyes, or not his eyes, I'm sorry, but his head and his feet. So one of the ways that I'm trying to direct your eye down there is by now introducing some smaller segments, a little bit more visual noise in this area that will be a reward for checking it out, essentially. So smaller shapes, little brush strokes, little schmexy details. Giving him tiny human feet, that's not a bad idea. Although I tend to do that on a lot of stuff, so maybe little human hands. It's like the bird that I gave human feet. Or Doodlebug even had human feet. What is Doodlebug up to these days? Why, he's binge watching another show, I'm sure. Something equally dramatic. What a drama queen, the Doodlebug. Okay, so we've got one light source kind of mostly a little bit figured out. Our lightest light here is that less than 50%. Wow. Okay, so we have a long way to go in our values that we can play with. The question will be, do we want to punch the values on the the rim light, or are we going to punch the values on the core light? We do it on the rim light. Let's go ahead and throw in a quick temporary rim here. Ha! I'm keeping this on a separate layer just to kind of test it. I think we could probably pop our overhead light a little bit more too. Oh my goodness. Dan Rob, hello, welcome. Donkers, I love it. Head feets. That is the best kind of acid that you are on, my friend. Okay, so that's a secondary light. Let's throw in another light just for fun. What do you think? Should we have kind of our base? We could use this as our fill here. We've got a rim. What about a bum light? A little bit of a... Ooh, what if he's emissive? Ooh. Ooh. Emissive just means that he glows. It's a fancy way of saying he glows. If you're wondering. He got that booty glow. Booty glowing. You think this is up Cypher's alley, huh? Dirty birdies. So you might be asking, why am I doing this part so sloppy? And there's a good answer for that. Basically, the idea is with doing this 70% method, we don't need to worry too much about rendering shapes or making sure that the edges are just perfect just yet, because we're gonna be doing our final painting on top of color. We're going to colorize this, and that will all be opaque. So we really don't need to do that much in terms of really refining things. We just need to get the important information there. Because this is a light source, we're going to go even brighter here, I think. Make a little layer underneath, and we'll have our little glow. Aw, a little butt glow. Wang. That's what a butt glow sounds like. Now you know. You're welcome. I love it. This is so cute. Ermagerd, welcome. Wary Warlord, nice. Glad you could join. Let's see. So we got our little butt glue. Turn it down just a little bit for now. We'll come back to that later. I think we're going to do a lazy screen fill. Set this to screen. Grab a dark. And I'm just going to pop the light side of our fill light just a little bit more. Have I voted? I think everybody that should have voted by now. I was eager. I did mine like a couple of weeks ago. Cypher, you voted? Yeah, I voted early. I'm lucky to be in a mail-in state, so I can mail in from where I'm at. In fact, everybody mails in from my state. Next step, we got to unlock that ranked choice voting. Get up on that. Give the whole nation some glow booty. Hope it goes well. Yeah, me too. I hope it goes well for the whole fucking planet. Everybody's pretty dialed in on this one. You went in person just because you weren't sure what they intend to do with the mail-ins? Yeah. I mean, honestly, if we didn't have mail-in only, I would go in person to avoid shenanigans because, man, I have no idea what's going to happen this one. I mean, based on the numbers that I've seen so far, it's supposed to be the highest voter turnout in ages. So it will probably be a statement one way or another, pretty significant one. We'll see. Ow. Can't wait to see how much BS. Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Pretending it's not happening. I was going to ask what's stopping them from burning all the mail on the ballots. Honestly, I don't know, man. It used to be just good faith, you know. That's what all of this was built on initially. As for now, it'll suss itself out, I reckon. If it's a landslide, you're popping bubbly. Nice. Me too. Either way, yeah, vast amounts of alcohol will be consumed and tears will be shed in my household. All right, I think we're in a pretty good spot with this little goofy guy. I don't know what happened there. I have one of these layers. I accidentally. Oh shit! It's an opaque one. Oh well, we're just dealing with mistakes today. Let's go ahead and do one more opaque layer. So you can see, so what I'm doing If you're paying attention, I told you where I decided I was going to have my focal points. So in a way, I'm kind of just literally pointing your eye towards my focal points. I'm just drawing an arrow to it. It's a dick move, but it works. Get a little bit of Brian Froud going on here. I'm all up for that. Okay, I just simply can't line with this brush, so we're gonna get a liner because I can't do the detail necessary to draw in these rim lights here with the brush that I had. If the Orange Goblin is not elected, even you will drink to that. Nice. Yeah. How long does one need to learn about bugs to whip one up so quick? I don't know about length of time, but certainly study is going to be involved in order to whip up anything really quickly. It requires becoming familiar with the visual language and the design vocabulary of whatever it is you're working on. So in this case, I have drawn insects lots and lots and lots of times. You can do it too. The dynamic sketching method is the one that I learned from, which is sort of an observational style. How would I describe it? It's observational study in order to kind of fill your head with the visual vocabulary of different things. And once I spent some time working on that, I just kind of internalized personally a lot of the things. I've always been into, like nature programs back before that was even like a thing, before, YouTube even existed. I've always loved, pre-Animal Planet type stuff. So I have that going for me as well in terms of the visual vocabulary. It's just the memory of all of these things that I've seen. But it's totally one thing to see stuff and then remember it, which is how I used to operate, and then study it, actively study by drawing it, pulling apart the major pieces, and then using that in invention. That's a whole next level. Legend has it, Izzy got confused between etymology and entomology and just learned them both. That there is a possibility that did happen. Ask me no questions. I'll tell you no lies. Okay, again, just trying to get in some lines, some shapes, the relative local values. I'm not trying to render it to completion because that's going to happen after I add the color to it. But I want to get all of the essential information must be there. So again, 70% done, 75% done or so. That's the goal here. think, well, these wings are pretty janky. We could do better. Let's see, I think I kind of want to hint that this is actually the inside of the wing. So what I'll do is try to sell it as subsurface scattering instead. Which means also that light will be coming through it. Yay. That's not bad. I have not studied how the veins work on fly wings, so this is butchered to all hell and back. But I kind of have something in mind for texture, so I'll probably get away with it, even though it's not going to be correct. I don't care that much. It's okay. This bug is called a BSOD. Okay. What are we doing here? Baudelaire, thank you so much for the follow. Glad you could join us. Welcome. The BSOD. I think I kind of... Maybe we'll do a little bit of a... Let's make a new layer real quick. You have a minor in biology? That looks close enough. Sure, why not? I like your version, Cyphertastic. BSOD. Yeah. Yep. Okay, let's do a new layer. B-sod, booty like a pea pod. Aw, yeah. That rhyme is writing itself. Let's grab, what do we got here? Let's grab one of the paintings we've already done. And take the colors from there. Oh, this is apropos. We'll grab this guy. Skadoosh. Gonna rasterize this layer. Hey, it looks like I did that in a magic card as well. Magic card format. I do that a lot. Any idea where you might find a good, preferably free brush pack to do some concept art in Photoshop? If you just do a search on Google, I guarantee you anything with an ArtStation link or a DeviantArt link will give you some good brushes to play with. But remember, it's not about the brush. It's how you use it. But I know that's easier said than understood. So experiment, find some brushes, get to the painting. Let's set it to color. Ooh, good placement. Let's do a hue saturation. Let's see. I don't know, I kind of like the gross, grubby, orangey pink. The interesting thing is there really isn't that much information that I can use here already. It was a bad choice for photo, but that's all right. Let's grab a soft brush. Let's throw in some other colors to kind of... What color should that should the light source be in the BSOD's butt? His butt light needs to be a special color. What do you think? Purple. All right, let's see what we can do about purple. What you know about some purple? What's the scale? You know, I haven't worked that out. What do you think? What would be a good scale for this guy? These things would be alarming if they were super gigantic. I think this is definitely larger than insect size. I'm thinking this is probably, you know, the size of a Volkswagen or something. The BSOD. Monstrosity. With a butt so big it can't fly nowhere. Okay, we're gonna grab one layer and just leave it on our B. And we're gonna grab another version of that layer and put it on our background. I think we'll desaturate it just a touch. Okay. All right, let's do one other fun trick that I like to play. Hit it with a gradient map. Yeah, that was a mistake. I'm just gonna hit OK for now. V. Golashapov. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. Glad you could join us. So yeah, let's do real quick. Let's suss out these colors just a little more. Yeah. Eesh. That's the downside to gradients, is the UI section here is very non-forgiving. Okay, so you may be asking yourself, why didn't he just do the gradient map to start? Because the colors look so nice like that. Well, the problem with that is gradient maps only really work when you're doing this kind of painting where it's just a single figure. You got to mess with them a little bit more if you're trying to do something that's more complex. So I do the color first for base colors of things. And I add in this, just sort of like to unify things. And because this is a white, we need to drag it over a little bit more. Okay, that's good enough for now. So this is why I was saying do 70, almost 75% finish with your values. You don't even know what gradient maps are for. Gradient maps, basically what they do is, if you look at the gradient here, the gradient that you create in terms of color, it adheres to the gradient that you have in terms of value. So on the furthest left, whatever color you put there will be dictated by your darkest darks. And whatever colors you put on the right will be dictated by your lightest lights. That's basically the essence of it. But you can, at any point in this, add different colors, and those colors will be placed in that value range that the new color's in. So you can do some pretty complex looking effects by changing the localized value of that thing. So if we made this part really bright, we can make things look chrome. We can play with colors a lot. We can change the drop off between the gradient colors with this in between here and make it really tight, you see? So the fact that we can't see that brown at all means that I don't have any true blacks in the painting, which is true and also by design. So we take that out. You can see, because I used colors that are dark, mid-tone, and light, all together in this gradient, it works as it is, and it still looks whole. But that's essentially what the gradient map does, is it just replaces value information with color information. So very useful for quickly colorizing things. So now I want some of that underlying painting to show through that I did with the color, color layer, and that's me messing with the blend if in the blending options, which is basically the most valuable tool in all of Photoshop. I love it. Doing the same with the lightest lights. And then the other thing that we can do is change the mask, and then we can just paint in now these colors by painting the mask. And it looks more and more painted as you go. How fun is that? Quick and dirty, gang. It's, in terms of getting painting and adding color really, really fast, it's one of the best things you can do. But remember, like I said, it works best when you're using it for a singular object that's floating in a field like what I'm doing right now. It is much harder to pull this effect off, it's going to require more setup and more careful approach if you do this with like a really complex environment or multiple characters, anything that's going to require a bunch of different base colors. Trying to soften the gradient just a touch. Russell Weefs, welcome. Thank you for joining. Appreciate that follow. Always, always. Let's paint in real quick. Okay, so I have a problem. I set my light source inside the butt to be purple, but then I switched my colors here to purple. Oh, well, this is a mistake. What can I do? Well, all of that painting stuff is all sussed out already. I've figured out where all the lights are going to go, but I just want to change that one color in the gradient. Ah, but this is the joy of the gradient. Now I can go in and actually just change that one color. Can warm it up, make it more yellow. I think just desaturated might be the best thing. Desaturated but darker. I don't want it to be so bright that it's taking over. Hit OK. I'm going to get rid of some of that outside. Let's actually, I think, let's just clip it to our buggy, and then it's not lost. How great is that? Okay, cool. Cool beans. Cool buggy. Russell, thank you so much. Stevie Redacted, Picante Tortuga, and Danger Noodle 43, thank you all for the follow. Welcome. Glad you could join us. Thank you. Kit Pashka, thanks. Appreciate that follow, y'all. Glad you could join. I think, yeah, that's kind of evened things out a little bit. Okay, so now we can go in the other direction. I want to get back some of my darks. Those darks are a little bit lost. So I'm going to, with this one now, also do a blend if. And I'm going to remove the pixels that are represented by the darkest layer, or the darkest value in our color. So it's not going to be colorizing so much on the darky bits here. I think that's a pretty good start. All right, so let's go ahead and let's start carving out. Now that we basically have all of the most important information. We've got relative values for the local area and relative colors for the local area. Now it's just finessing. We can just kind of play around and render. Like this, that's how you can get to the render stage that much faster. Kit Pashka, thank you so much for the follow. If I did not say it already, I appreciate it. Sorry, I get caught up in my paintings and then I just kind of lose track of what's going on. I'm just stumbling around. Get a little kooky on you. Set this to color. Whoops. Oops, oops. This is just to clean up some of the artifacting that's happened as a result of me using the gradient map. So that's the difficult part about the gradient map is the gradient map does not it doesn't respect what light source you're using. All it respects is relative value. So if I have a light source out here that I'm intending to be nice and cool, you know, and have a blue color to it, it doesn't care. It's just going to see that this value is the same as this value inside the emissive light of the shell, and therefore they are the same. And that is the downside to the gradient map. BSOD it all. I love it. Still can't wrap your head around how quickly I've done it. Well, I mean, the logic is all there. I've been explaining it as I go. And you can do this too. You absolutely can. It's just about learning what order to do things in, how far to take them, and how color and value relationships work. And I know that's I'm making that sound easy, and it's not. That's a lot of effort. That's years of study and practice. But you can do it. I have absolute faith that you guys can all do it. There's a logic there, an underlying reasoning, and once you master that, you got this. I kind of like that greeny. So see how I didn't just let the gradient map and the previous colorized layer completely dictate how this is going to go. I'm still playing with the colors. Donkers. This isn't rendered? No, this isn't 3D. See how gradient maps can be painted in more complex paintings? Yeah. How are the values looking for you guys? I think we could probably do a little value bump here. And instead of doing that with anything fancy, I'm going to use a multiply layer to glaze. Remember, glazing, you're going to need a light color. So by doing multiply, I am changing color and value at the same time. Okay, so that's not a bad place to be for an hour of painting. Admittedly, it's a very, very simple creature. It's not really asking a lot of us in regard to rendering or design. It's very simple. So take the speed painting concept with a grain of salt, gang. Do not let that mess with you. Speed painting is largely horseshit. Casciano, welcome. Thank you so much for the follow. Glad you could join. Oops. Cryomera just raided us. Oh my goodness. Welcome all. We are painting a buggy bug. That's so awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the follow. Julia, Mad Witch, Tauren Vampire. Oh, hey, it's Kyla. Awesome. Euphoria Design. Smarfy. Pierre Art. All of you, thank you so much for joining. Gatekept, thank you for the follow. Oh, that's amazing. Hey, gang. Daniel. What's up, brother? Stomp. Nine Toad, thank you all. Oh, man. Wow. So good to see you all on. That's so cool. Holy crap. Yeah, thanks, guys. I'm glad you like the painting. It's coming along. We had sort of an emergency start, so it's been an interesting little journey we had today. And now we're painting a little bug to celebrate. I'm gonna bring this back to that layer, just so we have a little more control over it. Skull Bash Hero, thank you for the follow. It's a bug! It is a bug. Just a cute little doodle bug. This is not a doodle bug, but a doodle bug. Look at him. He's adorable. I love it. Oh, Autumn, thank you so much for the gift subs. Damn. Wow. Art to kill. Kicking ass out there, brother. Thank you. So yeah, we did the 70%, and now because we've done all of that pre-work in the first hour, we can now get into rendering. So this is kind of where I wanted us to be with the last painting, and it's just at this stage you can color pick from the values that are already there. All of the value information, all of the color information is there, and it's just about kind of nudging and subtly bumping it in different directions to get what you want out of it, which is a really cool place to be. Thank you, Pierre. Appreciate that. Lemon Grab. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Maros. Thank you. Glad you all could join. How fun. What a great surprise. I should check out Cryomera. She's worth a follow and more. Gang, absolutely give Cryomera a follow, would you? I will do that myself. I never know if I'm doing it right. But let's try. Let's see if I can get this to work here. Come along now. Join me on a journey of old man ineptitude as I struggle with modern media. Add friend. Is that it? I don't know what to do there. I think that's it. Cryomera, I am great. Thank you so much for the raid. You just made my day. I so appreciate it. How are you doing today? How was your stream? Olivera, let's see. I accidentally covered this up with my little follow here. What did you say? Here we go. Thank you for the follow. Instant follow. Awesome. Oh, yeah. Magic the Gathering. I am a Magic the Gathering artist. I am Izzy on Magic the Gathering. That's a me. Donkers Bugsy renamed or names a layer. Which layer are we naming? The one we're on? You want it to be called Butt Light? Butt Light it is. Boom. Thanks for redeeming Name a Layer. You had a wonderful stream. Oh, that's awesome. Were you painting? Ashiru and Scully, thank you so much for the follows. That's awesome. I don't like that indecisive lineage right there. You're doing some pen and ink art for a cyborg person? Nice. Oh, I love it. I love me some transhumanism. You can ask the chat. This is my jam. Okay, we need to brighten this up just a touch. I think we'll go to a pink so we don't have these grays in here. And then the interior will probably do something really warm. Warm. Yeah. We'll do the same up here. Cozy, thank you for the follow. You have to lurk because you got to get some dinner. Hey, no worries. Thank you so much for the raid. That was amazing. Super sweet. And thank you, Autumn. You're my hero, bud. I hope that is a tasty dinner. It is well earned after cyborg drawings. Gorgeous block printing. Oh, nice. That's so cool. I have tried my hand at it. I am not good. It is a very difficult art form. So that is so awesome. I always did like the smell of the ink though, with the Briars doing print. That ink smell. Mmm. So good. We need a contact shadow value up here, I think. Just quick and dirty values. And like I said, because we have the value all worked out already, we have a color sort of indication rather. Implication, oh my. We just color pick and it's so much easier and everything's already harmonious. I mean, really, all of the hard work is done. Look at this little bee butt. He's such a little glowy butt. And he likes to spin around in circles. I don't know if you've noticed. It's a trick he learned just today. It's his birthday. You gotta wish BSOD a birthday. Give him the birthday wishes. Happy birthday, BSOD. You didn't think a bug would look so cool. You want 10? I don't know. I think it's probably flesh eating, so watch out for that. She sells on Etsy and has shirts. Oh my god. That's awesome. I'm always looking for Etsy artists. You all should check her out on Etsy as well, please. Indeed, Adam Robert Martin. Oh, Twitch is awesome. I really, really love this format. It's so great. So much fun. Okay, so now we got this fun little hot pink. And because I've added that nice contact shadow, we can do just a slight kind of rim light and have this feel, you know, like a thick plate. Pretty minimal effort. Yeah. Yeah, why not? Yep, we need a darker dark. Darker still. Oh no, a most terrible thing has happened. My music has stopped. I am highly upset right now. Or music doth soothe the savage Izzy. Oh no, my hat! Hat stays on table. New playlist. The BSOD playlist. The B side. Ah. Ha! Okay. Back to business. Back to serious business, gang. We are painting a bug. So because we lost the Martian and I didn't get to show you kind of the specular fun part, I'm jumping the gun a little bit. And I would probably render this thing out at this stage just a bit more. Give it another couple of hours just for fun. Just to get it real juicy. But I'm going to cheat, get some texture, get the values as close as I can, and then get right into the speculars. Because speculars are more fun. They're just fun. It's just good people. Okay? I lost them. I did. I lost the Martian. I was about 15 minutes into stream today, and I had got a blue screen while I was saving the Martian, and the Martian is gone forever. So you can watch if you go back into my videos. It should be published already. That's the last of it. When that video cuts off, that's when my machine blue screened. And ever since, we've been working on this guy. So this critter was born out of the destruction and loss of the Martian. Maso Art, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. It was wonderfully disturbing. Yeah, it was sad. I was bummed, but life goes on and we got a fun little weird glow butt out of it. I think I want to get rid of this eye on the outside, so I'm just going to cut it off altogether. I'm going to do a little eye surgery here. Now, don't try this at home, gang. Ooh, we hurts it because we loves it. just think you should avoid, performing surgery on your own eyes. It's just, it's just me. You lost the AutoCAD file you were working on for the past 3 days? Oh, shit. Oh, Lazy, I'm sorry to hear that. No worries. Take it easy. Best of luck. I hope you can get it back. That's the worst. Last Sheeps, thank you for the follow. So glad you could join us. That's awesome. Should not put plastic bags over your head. Yes, this is true. Avoiding self-performed eye surgery is the optimal strategy. Concur. I'm going to have to say I agree. As a doctor, I agree with this diagnosis. All right, I kind of want to get just a touch of this light up here onto the legs, just to round out their forms a little bit so they don't feel quite so graphic. And they kind of match into our character here. So I'm going to introduce to you a fun little technique I like to call the squiggle. That is scientific in origin. And we're just going to squiggle in the lit parts of the form and then erase out and smooth the gradation. And it just gives us real quick, cheap and easy texture. So it looks like it was painted, even though we know laziness is my driving motivator. And I don't want to paint it. I am lazy. So very lazy. The cool thing about the squiggle is you can build up the squiggle. I like his little chubby critter arms. We're not going to see the squiggle on that one because it's going to turn away a little bit. So by rooting just a little bit of squiggle in there and creating some value information, even though it doesn't really describe anything in particular, I can start adding details like speculars even on that. Which is ultimately what we're after, because again, speculars are the most fun thing ever. Okay. That's how your oil paintings ended up looking like Robert Williams. With the squiggles. It's the key. Are all of these brushes made by me? Oh, hey, it's Kyla. They are not. I am a dirty brush thief. I just steals them. No, almost all of the brushes I have are the ones that have been incestuously passed around in all of the art forums Deviant Art, Concept Art. I mean, some of these go back to conceptart.org. And yeah, I've just made sort of like a master collection and just share it with the patrons. It's, oops, I messed that up pretty bad. These things happen. But yeah, no, I really rarely make my own brushes. Usually when I'm making brushes, the only reason I'm doing it is in order to mimic somebody else's awesome brushes. And in that vein, I almost always fail. But, you know, it's worth the effort sometimes. It's just try. Now this brush is sort of like a Concept Art 101 brush. Been passed around quite a while. It's our village bicycle. Oh, look at that. The raid just started. Oh, I love how fast my bot is. It's totally on point. It's so good. You've only made the ones you've used for Procreate. I did make my own brushes and augment my own brushes from us or Procreate, and then I went and found I cannot remember the name of the artist, but he did these amazing ink brushes and some oil paint brushes, and I was like, I give up. I just don't have the time. And so I just bought his. And one of the best investments I've made for Procreate outside of the app itself was getting those brushes. I can't remember his name offhand. But he's the most well-known brush maker, I think, for Procreate. You don't know what I'm talking about? You make all your own brush? Yeah, right. Zay, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Yeah, no, making brushes yourself is totally an art form, and understanding it's like tech art. It is a thing that must be learned, and it really requires a lot of fiddling around and some practice. The hardest part, like most of the brushes that I've made myself, were just me fiddling and just trying to figure something out, but to sit and have an idea for what you want out of a brush, I don't even know how they do that shit. That's crazy cakes. That is crazy cakes. How we doing on time? Hour and a half. I think we might do... I want to do part of this in sort of the encased membrane thing to show you kind of what I was after with the Martian before we lost him. So I got to decide which parts will be encased in membrane to get that cool specular effect that we're after. We don't have a ground plane, so we'll have to fake it. Thanks, Zay. Glad you like it. Actually force yourself to make a new brush every time you open Photoshop for about a month. It helped you learn the engine. Really? Hey, that's the way. Good idea. When you're painting and you've got a lot of material down in terms of your rendering, when you paint on top of it, very gently so that it's a low opacity stroke. It has this really interesting effect, and it looks a lot like acrylics where you're glazing. And I love taking advantage of that opacity and pen pressure aspect in order to kind of imply the depth of layers that can happen where light goes through a substance and kind of picks up other colors, or even bounces light and creates more colors. It's just a great way to kind of imbue your painting and the skin or the whatever surface it is with just a little bit more life. Take a look at our values. Okay, so we have definitely at least one more value, I think, one more value that we can pop on our light source that is over our heads. We'll save that for the last 10 minutes of specular goodies. Let's do a quick Cheatham's post, or Cheatham's layer post. Gonna do airbrush. Set it to color dodge. Ooh, no, don't do it. I'm doing it, guys. Oh no. Why? I just want that glow. I need it. Cheating so hard. Get a little bit of a bloom. Nope, wait, too bright. Nope. Look at blue. We're going for full hack right now. Just pure hacky hack. But it's only hacky hack because it works, gang. It does work. Okay, new layer on top. I am now no longer constrained by the clipping mask. So the clipping mask is our buggy bug. That's all one layer. And now we're painting as though this actually was a full painting, opaque and outside of the comforts of our clippy clips. So now is where we can do things like play with our edges. And because all of our values are already there, we can just color pick yet again. This is the value in it. And we can change our edges. Make it feel a little bit more organic. Copper Moth, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. I am glad you could join us. Hacking for science. Yep. I grab that. Just the dirtiest of concept art tricks. Yar. That's the noise he makes. Flapping around, infecting people with bug rabies. He is adorable. Flocko, thank you so much for the follow. Really glad you could join us today. You can see me shifting my body around. So the reason I'm doing that is to change the angle of my stroke with the painting. And it's something you don't need to do. And it's a bad habit. You can kind of get a little bit of weird sore. I could already feel my shoulder aching at me. But you should absolutely set the rotate tool as a shortcut, an easy one to access. I think it's K normally. No, K might be slice. Is it R? It would never be so easy. Would it? It could. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yeah. No. I don't know. Anyway, when you're able to rotate like that and flip easily, you don't need to kind of contort yourself in order to do the strokes that you need to do. Do I have a Discord? Yes, Autumn, I do have a Discord. The link is below, right here on the About page, I believe. You just hop on there, get on the Discord, and come hang out and join our community. We're always looking for people that are interested in getting better at painting, helping each other out with crits and things like that. It's a good spot. Some good folks over there. I want to introduce another light source because I'm a maniac. But I'm going to use this. I'm going to use the field as a light source. Just to kind of imply a touch of reflectivity or a Fresnel effect, which is the correct term for this specific thing. This kind of reflection. Okay. We can use the butt light for the Fresnel for this as well. And it would be completely accurate. Join the Discord? Awesome. Thank you. I hope you enjoy it. Everybody there is really cool. Post your work. Get some feedback. And help others get better too. Golden Loris, thank you for following. Glad you could join us. I love Lorises. Is it Lorisi? Loros? I don't know. They're great. Slow Loris. Can you post finished pieces or work in progress? You can post anything you want. I believe there's a Sketchin' with Izzy channel, and there's also a public crit channel. So post on there. And I'll lean in every now and then when I get a chance, chat and help out with crits. Where is this purple light coming from, you may ask? I don't know. I don't know you nothing. Stop judging me. I just like it. I like pinks. I'm a big fan of the pink color. It's so cute. It's a cutie pie. Okay, let's do real quick. I'm kind of thinking maybe I don't need this light underneath. Where is it coming from? This layer? No. No. That layer. I'm kind of thinking I don't need that light. I'm kind of thinking about getting rid of it. What do you guys think? It doesn't need it. Having it on the butt and the eye kind of works it out just fine. Let's leave it off for a little while and see how we feel. Let's paint it out. Just see what it looks like. Just try it out. Just a little taste. Just a little taste. I think it's better without it. Yeah, sometimes that happens. I do kind of like the purple artifacting though. It almost looks like the carapace is a little bit rainbowy. So I'm going to leave that in there right now. That purple and green right next to each other are making an interesting effect. Kind of doing concepts while we're sketching our illustrations. Let's save it. Always smart to do. You don't want to paint something all over again. Just building up these contact shadows, a little bit of ambient occlusion. You can't half-ass your core shadows. You gotta make sure the values are right in the core shadows. Little Coffee Brain, thank you so much for the follow. I'm glad you could join us. Yeah. Okay. I want that greeny sort of carapace color elsewhere. So I'm going to start introducing that green in other places. Naomi, oh, thanks so much for subbing again. I'm glad you're in there lurking. That makes me happy. Yeah, that's the stuff. Get a nice rich, dark green. Maybe we can even get a little bit of a turquoisiness in there too. And these things near each other, they create this really cool kind of rainbowy oil slick effect that I just love. It's like the dark, evil version of what's pretty popular these days with the chromatic aberration and like prismatic lighting, which I love. I love color. Okay, I think it's time. I think we've earned it. It's been a long journey today. I'm glad you guys are here to join me on this, because it's time. It's time for speculars. Blue screen of death. No, I'm kidding. I would never hope for that, because that would be horrible. But it would be very, very funny. I would laugh. I love that ninja face. That's great. All right, let's do a new layer. We've already done a bunch of speculars already. Okay, first I want to think. Are we doing a membrane? We're going to do a membrane over the carapace, or are we going to do it over the sort of, I don't know, sluggy texture here? That's the value I've got over there. Let's just draw it in. Sometimes it's easier to just kind of scribble in where the specular would belong. And then just erase out where you don't want the joins. Autumn, share that Instagram. Yeah, I should definitely give Autumn a follow. Art Turkel there. Okay, because it's a different layer, this is me thinking ahead, right? Oh, maybe I don't like where that specular's living. Maybe we need to kind of move it a bit. Because more often than not, your specular is not going to be in the same spot as the brightest spot on your surface, the lit surface. Because the specular follows slightly different rules. The specular is a reflection of your light source rather than the light hitting an object and just lighting it. That is why when you have a surface that is specular, like plastics or glass or something like that, really shiny metals, when you have it lit from a bright light source, when you move, that light, that reflected specular, moves with you. You'll notice that. And if you have something that's matte, like a more matte surface thing like this, it tends to not move as much. Even this is not that matte. This is matte. There you go. So something like this, moving around, that's not really going to change the light all that much. It's lit because that's the direction it's facing. It's facing your light. But speculars, they be misbehaving. They're doing stuff a little bit their own way. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm getting at here? You follow? All right. Cryomary, you like the sheen? Thanks. It's kind of what I'm known for, is making weird, slippery things that shouldn't exist and probably haunt your nightmares forever, but are also kind of cute sometimes. It's who I am. It's what I do. Yes, 100%. Follow Naomi Full. She's awesome. How are you liking the new gig, by the way? Is that going well? We've had a couple of weeks in there now, huh? In the lion's den. Everyone's better than you and you love it? Awesome. That is the best place to be. You want to be surrounded by people that just kick your ass and inspire you every day. I guess we're just kind of doing a membrane on top of this, this outer carapace. Shit, we might just put a membrane on the whole thing, because why not? We are out here just ignoring the world burning down around us, painting a shiny ball. And I could not be happier than to be doing it with you all. I'm real glad you guys are here right now. I always find when I'm doing speculars, I like to have one area which is the chonk. And the chonk is going to be the biggest piece that's reflecting our light source. It's going to be doing the heavy lifting. To Wataru, thank you so much. I Bubek, thank you guys for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome. Glad you could join. That's so great. You did get a pick for one of your designs today? Awesome. That's the way. Get those credits, girl. The chonk. Alright, let's let that sit for a second. Let's let it percolate a moment. We're definitely going to need to add, since we made that substance so shiny, we're going to need to add reflective surfaces all around it, because it all needs to kind of match. So that means that the lighting that I have here on the rim light doesn't quite work anymore. So let's see how much of this is what I added up here. Let me erase what I can. And we're going to have to, well, no, what we'll do actually instead is I'm going to lock the transparency of that layer, and we'll make it behave as though it is a darker value. Ha ha ha! I am very sneaky. Sneaky guy. Okay. Now what that's done is that's given us room to push our speculars for the other side, because this is a substance that is very reflective. Therefore, we must have speculars for every light source. And the more separated you are from the light source, the more separated your camera normal to the object is from the light source's normal, the more off that specular is going to be. So our specular was pretty close on this one because the light source is very close to where our eye is. But if it's very far, well, my friends, we need to get into some shenanigans over here. What got me into art? Ooh, I'd say mostly the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. No, it was... I switched into art in high school because the school that I wanted to go to, which was a school for weirdos, high school rather, it was an art magnet program. I didn't want to go to normal high school because I knew I would not do well there, to say the least. So I switched from doing music to picking up a pencil. And I went to this little art magnet school, found out that to go there they required you have a portfolio. And so the night before my entrance interview to try and get in, I traced a bunch of drawings from Victoria's Secret books and little manga that was lying about on college-ruled lined paper. And I put that in a binder and said that was my portfolio. And I applied. So with my traced portfolio and some clever discussion during the interview, I got in. And so once I got in, I was like, oh, crap. I better learn how to draw. And that's basically what happened. That's how it started. Learning how to draw, I went with drawing because it was the cheapest art form that I could think of. That means just pencil and paper, right? But yeah, no, I was not gonna make it in another school, in another normal school at all. I had sort of a variation of selective mutism, and all my life I've struggled really, really hard with social anxiety. And so that school was the first place where I actually got to practice and work on my social anxiety issues. So it was stay in a normal school and just get my ass kicked all the time and just go retreat deeper and deeper into myself, or try this crazy art school. And everybody there was so great and so welcoming that slowly but surely I came out of my shell. And you're all doomed now. So enjoy that. You're welcome. His true passion for art began with A Clockwork Orange. Certainly A Clockwork Orange was a contributing factor. You're saying I was always lazy? Yes. I told you, this is a prime motivator for Izzy. Lay Izzy, I love it. Yeah. The Hurl, thank you so much for the follow. I'm really glad you could join us tonight. Yeah, it's been a journey. But I can say I'm really happy with how things ended up. I've been so lucky to meet so many amazing people that gave me a chance, that took the time to get to know me and get past how weird I was and unusual in my behavior when I was really young. Believe it or not, I was worse than this once. And yeah, it's been a great ride as a result. Oops, uh-oh. That doesn't bode well. Save. Yeah. One of the big things with the anxiety has just been like challenging myself, desensitizing myself. So one of the first things I did was I started, at that high school, I started hanging out with some people, and I just stood in the corner. I didn't even talk. I would just be near them, and they let me be near them, which I think was probably the greatest gift I ever got. Was these kids were hanging out, they were talking to each other, having a good time, and I just stood there, and they didn't say anything about it. They didn't make fun of me. They just let me hang out, and eventually I started talking and leaning in on some of the conversations. And, I wanted to be funny, like they were funny. These guys were, this whole group of boys and girls were really, really clever, witty folks. And I think that's what drew me to them. So I started kind of listening, and then I would try. Like they let me try. They made fun of me, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't cruel like the normal school people were. They made fun when I tried, but it wasn't like a spanking, go to the other room, you're out. It was sort of like a ribbing and then go on. What else have you got? So by being able to try and experiment with interacting, I was able to kind of grow the thicker skin and learn how to be a little bit wittier, and it was a really useful experience. It was a total privilege. I'm extremely fortunate that I was lucky enough to find just this group of vagabond weirdos that were like me and let me kind of figure it out. You don't think an artist ever has an easy beginning story? Not at all. But so I kept pushing it beyond that. Once I started hanging out with them and I started to feel confident and started making friends and getting past my social hang-ups, I started moving to larger and larger things. So I would do like house parties, hang out, try and talk to people. And I just kept moving up. So then I ended up teaching. We're talking full adulthood. I'd already finished college and I started teaching. And teaching was a whole other one, because then it wasn't just like you can melt away or run away to the bathroom or something and hide. You're responsible for actually educating someone. And there was something about standing in front of a room full of people that are just staring at you, expecting you to do something, to make something happen. Oh man, it was horrible at first. That first day, I'm pretty sure I told Autumn this one, but that first day, I was sitting there. I had written out my syllabus for the class and everything. Like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. Here's all the different things, and standing in front of all of those people, it was like I never went to that high school. Like the selective mutism and everything just kicked in, and it was like, oh my god, I forgot how to read. I shit thee not, I could not read. I was sitting there holding that paper. My hands are sweating. My face was pouring sweat, and I was just like shaking, going, oh my god, all of the letters just kind of blurred. I couldn't read. So there was about 30 seconds of me just standing in front of this big group of students. They're all just looking at me expectantly. And I had to sit there and calm myself and think, okay, they don't know what's happening inside me right now. To them, I'm just up there thinking. And so using that, trying to kind of recenter myself, I was able to start reading and kind of just think, okay, they're not thinking what I'm thinking. And it's easier said than done when you have social anxiety, but it worked and I got through it. And then by the end of that class, I would come to class and teach those lessons without a syllabus at all. I would just show up and hang out, and it got so much easier. So it was just like a lot of practice. And then I would push myself to the next thing. So the next thing after that ended up being presentations at work. And then my big finale, although it wasn't really a finale, because I still get this. I mean, no joke, to this day, I still get these things. It happens, and it'll happen when I'm not expecting it. But I just know that I'll survive. So I get through it a lot easier than I used to. But the big one was I did a talk at SIGGRAPH, and oh my God, I thought I was going to shit myself on stage. I did a talk. It was like 1,500 people, something like that. Oh my God, I've never been so scared. That was terrifying. They're more afraid of me than I am of them. Yeah, basically, Cecil Kim, who was kind of my mentor going into Sony. When I was working at Sony, he was the lead concept artist there, and he was the one that got me into teaching. Was like, hey, we need somebody. And I was like, dude, no way, I'm not doing that. I can't teach. That sounds horrifying. He didn't know me, so he didn't know about my, how I react to public pressure and things like that. And so I was like, I won't do this. No, I can't do this. And he's like, you got to do it. I just need help. You got to come in. And I was like, all right. Okay. I agreed to do it because I had already decided, a long time ago that I was going to try and push myself to get better at this stuff. And yeah, even then, even prepared that day, gone. Forgot to read. But yeah, it gets easier. But it does require, remembering and reminding yourself that ultimately no one is thinking about you. It sounds horrible to kind of say it that way, but they're like, really, people are there, they're enjoying themselves, they're having their own experience, and they just don't even have time to acknowledge yours. So don't let it get you down. At least that's what I'm telling myself. And so far, I think that's been generally true. And the thing is that it almost worked like a feedback loop. That's what I discovered. So as I stopped putting pressure on myself about what I thought other people thought about what I was doing, the less they telegraphed any of that, and the more they felt comfortable. So, because everybody's a little bit nervous, especially in a situation where you are doing a talk. People are nervous for you. They're nervous. Everybody's got their own thing going on, and if you can get yourself to feel comfortable, you're going to make other people feel comfortable, and that's it's a great feeling when you get that vibe. And that's something I learned from teaching. Okay, so here I am going back a little bit because I want to round out this form, and I didn't really render this section quite right. So how I'm rendering now is how I rendered at the very beginning, if you've been with me since we started this painting earlier today. You need to find the YouTube of that sea graph. You should look it up. It's the one where I don't even know if there was a YouTube. I know they were filming, which was also a reason I was terrified. But they had the whole lighting crew. They had us mic'd. They had a mic on the stage. I don't know if you guys know Jung. Jung Park was one of the other he was the other lead concept artist. And the two of us were so nervous. I mean, we were shaking. I thought I was going to vomit. We practiced our presentations, and oh my God. Once I finished that, it was like the best feeling in the world. I felt like I could fly for like maybe 4 hours after that. It was just like, oh man, what a great feeling. I had a similar thing happen. One of my best friends of all time, he asked me, I wasn't the best man at his wedding, but the best man said that he would just wing the speech. And so my friend and his now wife were like, nope, we want a decent speech, so we're gonna have Izzy do it because he likes to write. And so my friend came to me, he was like, Izzy, you gotta write the best man speech and perform the speech for my wedding. And I was like, all right, we're gonna do this. I agreed to do it knowing full well that this was my new kryptonite, that I was going to die in front of people out of embarrassment and horror. So I wrote that speech over the period of like 3 or 4 months. And when we got to the location where the wedding was going to be, we were there for a couple of days beforehand for parties and whatnot. I rewrote that speech 2 more times. So nervous. And so I ended up standing there in my, I don't own a tux, but my nicest clothes that I could find on the boat, because I was living on the boat at the time. And stood up there in front of all of these people in their tuxes and everything and delivered this speech just Oh, it was so hard. But what I found was the key for that one was just focusing on my friend and trying to make it like it just me. I was just talking to him and his wife, and kind of sharing, you know, how I felt about the whole thing and my wishes for them, and it was so great. And it ended up when I finished that one, it was the other time where I felt when it was over, I was like, I could do anything. I will do 1,000 push-ups and kick this toddler into the sun. But yeah, it took actually doing it to get that feeling. But man, build up. Brutal, my friends. This whole story has given you such a boost of confidence. Good, yeah. Please try and remember it, because if my experiences with social anxiety and being kind of an utter weirdo can help anybody, I would be so pleased, because then it's extra reward for the same amount of work. Joe Goodhands, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate that. That's what friends are for, putting you in weird situations. Totally. Running Meats, thank you so much for the follow. Glad you all could join. How fun. Sailboat, yes. I was living on a sailboat the last 5 years or so in Mexico. After I finished working at Sony Santa Monica, my last in-studio game before the one I'm working on right now was God of War Ascension. And after that, I went freelance, and I was freelancing in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is just a stupid expensive place to live. And I kind of, around that time, I picked up sailing, and I was having fun sailing. And I put 2 and 2 together. I was like, oh, sailing is fun. And it's cheaper to live on a sailboat than it is to live in LA by a fair margin. I can do freelance from anywhere. And so I decided to get a boat. And I lived on a boat. I did freelance on the boat. What was great about it is my cost of living was so much less living on a boat than it had been living in LA, that I was able to work a significantly less. This boat, by the way, I was living in Mexico and kind of journeying around the Gulf of Mexico, or sorry, not the Gulf of Mexico, the Sea of Cortez. And in the Sea of Cortez, I'd stay in different cities, and I'd use their Wi-Fi or whatever and do what little bit of freelance I picked up. But because the cost of living was so low, I had so much more free time. And that's when I really got into what I wanted to do, which was creating original stuff, writing, things like that. So it was a great, great experience. What kind of sailboat did I have? I had a 51-foot ketch that I was sailing by myself. It was so a ketch is a double-masted boat with 3 sails for the minimum sail plan, and it was a coastal cruiser style, so it could go to sea. I wouldn't take it, but I was sailing by myself, which was probably the biggest mistake I was making. I had lots of close calls, and I did almost sink once, but that's another story. We'll save that for another day, I think. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm trying to knock back my speculars just a touch so that I have my chonky specular, remember we were talking about that, as my feature there. Let's go ahead and throw in some speculars on our slug texture here. We'll throw in some on this, a little bit on the legs, finish out with the eyes, and I think that will have us at about 3 hours, just right. Oh, hey, it's Kayla. I wouldn't be so impressed. I did technically sail it, but not well. It was a lot of work and extremely stupid. I had a lot of close calls, and I have seriously injured myself over the years doing it. We're talking the kinds that stick with you, took an arrow to your knee kind of things, where you're talking about him into old age. That definitely did happen there. I am using a different brush with the same color to do the text, to do the speculars here, and the reason I'm doing that is because I want the material to feel different. Still shiny, still a little bit slimy, but not have the same really sharp, almost bowling ball looking texture on it, if that makes sense. Pierre, thank you so much. It didn't die still counts. That is true. It's like every landing you can walk away from, right? Basically, yeah. We'll go with that. Yeah. So I will add. A, I don't know why the damn thing keeps doing it so late. I will come back in and do a little bit of an implied gloss that will be, instead of a membrane, I want this part to look like it's actually juicy, like there's a mucus or something. Oh my goodness, so many subs that I think were probably from the raid a while ago. So I apologize. That's my Streamlabs just doing great stuff. Good job, guys. At least the experiences will stick with me. Yes, they will. Vile Plumes, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Yeah, Autumn just got a whole bunch of subs for everybody when he first dropped in, so please give thanks to Autumn there. Art Turkel. Give him a follow on Instagram and here on Twitch. He also does some kick-ass paintings. Okay, for these speculars, we're just doing a little bit, because this is not meant to look like that, the shell up top. Dodidari, thank you so much for the follow. Where did I learn this, if I don't mind sharing? Are you talking about painting? Or... yeah, you got the little furry guy. You're asking about painting. I learned to paint primarily in college. I went to college with Autumn, Art Turkel there at Art Center in Pasadena. Only like 738 years ago. I had some really, really good painting teachers. And I spent a long time trying to analyze why light and form kind of did what they were doing. I was the super annoying student. I'm so glad I haven't had a lot of students that were like me. But I was the student that was always questioning the teacher. Why? Why are we doing that? Why do that? Explain it to me. Super not fun to deal with. But it helped. That's basically a way that I learn, is more than just giving me information and me internalizing it. I much prefer to understand the function of it. And that's also not fair, because I know that the way I tend to think is, if you can't explain to me the function of it, then either your argument for that thing is not very good, or you are not very good at it. So that is not a fair thing to do to a teacher. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm on the spectrum. And that they didn't really have that when I was a kid, but I'm getting by. I'm surviving. Time Machine, thank you so much for the follow. Jagged Ruby, also, thank you. $200,000 ago, yes, very much so. I am glad to see it behind us. I'm so glad that you get to go to paid college in Denmark. Yeah, that's how it should be everywhere. I absolutely believe that. Excuse me. I did it again. I'm sorry. Okay, I want to hint at speculars in other parts of this carapace, right? But I can't, I want to make sure that those speculars are not as hot and bright as my speculars up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one of these colors that are, in the brights, and they're going to be way brighter than what I've got down here. So they can be operative speculars for this area. Z-Works, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. Just like the lighting should behave when you're describing form with the first 3 rules of light, which I cover in my first lesson on YouTube. Your speculars also need to occupy the hills and valleys. So the indentations or the concavities and the convexities. I don't know if that's a word or not. The convexes? Who knows? I didn't invent this dumbass language. Maros. Oh, I think I already thanked you. There it is. That's my Streamlabs just kicking ass, taking names. So I'm just knocking back the speculars just a touch. Just a little dicky do. Okay. Now that we've done that there, we can also do this up here, but I want that rainbow. I need that rainbow in me. Oops, I am using... Actually, no, we'll continue using this one, because this is where the mucus is probably gathering, is down at the bottom part of the sluggy bits. So mucus acts just like the membrane. What it does is it's filling these little crevices and cracks and making them very smooth. And so things that are very smooth will have speculars because they're reflecting the surface. There's no roughness to break it up. Even these little scratches and things like that you might find on maybe like a motorcycle helmet or something like that, those scratches signify texture that is on the surface. Something that's super, super smooth that doesn't have those textures, let's say like a brand new iPod from back in the day, is going to have very few scratches, and it'll just be a smooth, simple, super sharp shape. That's hard to say. I will not attempt it again. Thanks, her. Osadio, 1984. Thank you so much for the follow. I ain't saying nothing 7 times fast. Thanks, Ruby. These speculars that I'm adding in the shadow indicate the mucus that's filling that gap. My hand's starting to cramp up a little bit. It's been a few hours of straight painting, so... Actually, I've been painting all day. It's a little sore. You gotta learn some exercises for your hands to kind of stretch them out. There's lots of things you can do. Asaderi-chan, thank you. I don't know if I thanked you already. Thank you so much for following. I appreciate it. Really appreciate me explaining this stuff. Beginning digital artists and stuff like this really helps. Awesome. If you're just getting started, absolutely 100% get on my YouTube at youtube.com/UziMedrano. Find the video titled 3 Simple Rules to Improve Your Painting. That is my very first base episode that all of my lessons tend to be based on, and that is going to be the fundamentals of how light and form work. And if you really want to kickstart your learning with the most important fundamental rules, I would start there 100%. How often do I stream? You'd like to catch more of these? My schedule is below in the About section. I stream on Mondays and Tuesdays starting at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard and Thursdays at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard. You never do stretch breaks for the back and hands? I do sometimes. Usually I just forget to do it because I'm having fun painting. But you got to do stuff for your wrists and hands. For me, I notice it here first. Probably it's the age starting to kick in. But my hands start to feel stiff and a little bit achy. Just getting old, man. Even the Mona Lisa's falling apart. Thanks, Kayla. Yeah, I'm glad you guys could join me. That's awesome. Ooh, boy, it's old. Superstitious. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. Oh, Naomi. You have all the right emojis. Okay, let's do our quick last pass here, and then I'm gonna have to take a break because my hands are definitely hurting. I like that one. That's a good one. Where's the old brown man? Come on now. There's got to be a good Chappelle in there somewhere. Redeemed stretch. Ah, thanks. I don't even have one of those. Let's see how bright my specular is compared to what I got down here. Ooh, that is vicious. Look at that color difference. So what we're gonna have to do is warm this up significantly so that it only feels slightly cool in comparison. Let's up the brightness a lot. We are cheating. We are using simultaneous contrast to falsely imply the same level of light in a spot. Cheating is half the game right there. See the difference in value with the gray that I had above and that white? Major difference. I move my hand. So this is my focal point. I need to have the strongest, I clearly have given a focal point to this area because of all the fun textures that I've put there, but I need to do something up here that's gonna bring us back to this being my center point. So I think we need we're gonna do this with detail, with structural interest. Explain that in stupid terms. Simultaneous contrast. Simultaneous contrast is a perceived change in color, value, hue, or saturation depending on the relationship of colors around that hue, saturation, value, etc. So it's that whole, I'm sure you guys have seen the thing where you've got a piece of paper, right? And then on one side it'll have, I don't know, blue here and a yellow here, and then you put a gray strip over it, and that gray strip changes the relative color of that thing. Or if you may have seen the images, I think James Gurney does really good examples of these, where you would see like a checkerboard thing, right? There's a checkerboard plane right here, and in the shadow of the cylinder, you know, the checkerboard's like got the dark and the light. In the shadow of the cylinder, the light of the checkerboard, that light value, so the shadow side light is the same color as the dark side in light. If that makes sense. It's a pain in the even stupider terms. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to explain it without doing a full lesson on simultaneous contrast. But essentially, the core thing to understand is that that no color or value operates in a vacuum, and that the relationship with the other values around it changes it. So let's do a new layer, and I'll try and do as quick a lesson as I can. Look at the gradient tool. Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Oops. Okay. So, simultaneous contrast just means if I take this mid-tone right here, this is just in terms of value. This is true for color and everything else. But if I take that mid-tone and I drag it into the lights, it's going to look really, really dark. And if I drag it into the darks, it's going to look really, really light relatively. It's the same value as is right there, but because of the colors that are around it, it significantly changes the appearance of the value that you have at hand. And so simultaneous contrast in regard to painting is taking advantage of the knowledge that perceived values, colors, or saturations, whatever, will vary depending on those colors, values, saturation, whatever, that are around the color that you're painting. So simultaneous contrast is the control and usage of this particular effect. Does that make sense? Hopefully that's a little bit better. Okay. Sweet. So used in practice here, I did exactly that. You'll remember when I said, okay, I want speculars down here, right? But if I use the same value that's up here at the top down here, let's go back to that layer, down here at the bottom, it's too bright. It will work, but the brightness is going to overtake the values that I have there, and it's going to create a super strong contrast because the light, this really bright light up here is quite close to the same value, comparatively speaking, of the mid-tones next to it. Whereas this one is very strong bright next to very strong dark. So this is going to look brighter and more contrasty than this up here, and thus more visually interesting. So I'm going to make a false focal point. Focal points being the part of your painting that you want people to pay the most attention to. So to prevent that, what I did is instead of selecting my specular color there, I selected one down here, and I used that color as my specular in the darkest range. Because of the relationship of that specular to that dark, it looks, that color, the mid-tone color to how dark this is, because of that relationship, that looks bright, but it's not as bright as that. Does that make sense? So that is me taking advantage of simultaneous contrast in order to control the value key in my painting. Yeah, when I first started explaining simultaneous contrast, I had the worst explanation for it, which I will not even use right now, because just the verbiage of it will confuse the shit out of you. But I had it written out, and that's where I started. I've since gotten better at explaining that over the years, but goddamn, that's always been a tough concept to share. And believe me, it was even harder when I was learning it, because the teacher didn't have that kind of expectation down. They told me about it. I did not get it. You should absolutely not feel foolish because you don't get it right away. It's kind of a tongue twister, and it's not how you think painting would work. It's one of those things where painting is it's a manipulation of the values and things like that. So if you're being manipulated, you don't know the trick. Of course it's going to be difficult to kind of pick up. Okay, so let's get back to our details on this little goofy face. You like hearing everyone's explanations for art terms? It's very telling of our personal understanding of things we were taught. How did I do? Autumn's up here testing me. Bastard. I'm using a really dark value here that I can edit a bit with an eraser tool, just to control that value relationships in that area. And what I'm trying to do is just create just little bits of visual interest up here, little sort of bug segmenting that's going to give us more places to place lights, to place fun little speculars, all of which, that looks a little bit too robot-y. I think I need to ease up on that a little bit. Let's make it more organic. Maybe little sensory organs up here. I always like to add, like, especially with shells or, leather armor, steel armor, little hints of like a surface texture that makes it look a little dented or a little like porous. I think that's always a fun place to put just a little visual interest. So you just kind of pocket up a little bit. Just make it a little bit pocky. Just pocky-esque. Making up words. Sabin Cauldron, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. It was great. We're actually testing yourself. Ah. Production style art, flashy. Yeah. Omadusk, what's up? This is our new painting. We are painting some kind of buggy critter. I am sad to say, our Martian friend did not survive the day. This is it's just experience, that's all. Having painted these textures many times. Hundreds, if not thousands. Also, after losing the other one, you kind of get like a fuck it mode, and by not caring, you can get some pretty good stuff going on when the stress isn't there, and you're just like, whatever happens. So this one was pretty. I think this one benefited a lot from coming out of a total disaster. You ever watch Izzy's stream when you study? Oh, that's awesome, Omi. Thanks. This one can't be one I forget to put on YouTube. Well, we'll see. I don't know. I forget stuff. It's what I do. Ow. Stretchies. Anna Ray, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate that. Welcome. Kayla, you gotta go, but thanks for the stream. Hey, no worries. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us today. That was great. This one had too many educational goodies. Oh no! You know what? This top ridge is just not working for me. It feels wrong. So what I'm gonna do... We're going to add just a little more visual interest up here. I need to switch brushes because this is a hard edge brush, and I painted most of this carapace up here with this brushier brush. Little more textured and brush strokey, streaky. Okay, so now that I've changed that bit up there, that means that I need to rethink a little bit of my lighting down here. It's okay, this is all on a new layer, so I'm not really losing anything yet. specularity is great. Thanks. Yeah. It's basically what I wanted to do with the other one. Took you a while just to learn how to paint with a round brush. Ultimately, that's all you need in the end is that round brush. That's going to be your closest friend throughout this journey. It's so opaque and round, doesn't create texture at all. Not so. You can do just about everything that we've done here with a round brush. It's not easy, but you can do it. Don't buy into the myth that the brush is what makes it happen. The brush just makes it easier. I think it's a great challenge to try and force yourself to solve different problems with the same brush. It will teach you a great deal about the reality of brushes and how to think about them. One of my favorite tools when I was just out of school and I was having a lot of fun just sketching regularly, doing paint sketching, was the Nintendo DS, which was a handheld device that I had hacked and had a basic painting program on it that was very similar to what we know of as heavy paint, I think it's called, which is just a chunky, super simple. The colors program only had a round, and the round, you learn. You learn how to render these different materials. You learn how to indicate a variety of things with that simple device. It's a great learning system. Ryuno Art, thank you so much for the follow. Anerm, also, thank you. Glad you all could join. You just hate you have to actually try to create texture. Yes, that I get. Yeah, 100% I understand you there. To learn the round brush, you did a landscape painting of Half Dome with just a round brush. Oh, yeah, that would do it. Okay, so we're going to do our simultaneous contrast again. And we're not going to grab our brightest bright. We're going to grab something nearby and see if that will suffice to be our specular over here. You can see this God of War and very annoying to deal with. I was responsible for a lot of those critters. You can definitely see I have a penchant for the slimy. I like speculars. Come on, sue me. Everybody likes speculars. Let's be honest. I'm curious about something. This might be too much. I don't know. The problem with it is it's kind of creating a really strong contrast on that outer edge, which might be too much. Nope. You know, it really doesn't need it. I will leave my little specular in there that I drew. Let's invert the selection, delete. Unnecessary. It's just unnecessary. It's overkill. Chonky specular. Such chonk. Yeah, I think that's it for today. We've got just about everything in there. Let's do a glaze, because why not? We just like overkill in here, come on. Let's do a noisy airbrush. Thanks, Autumn. Let's drop that. Warm it up a touch. That little bit of texture, that little bit of noise, ooh. Just bakes your noodle. So the difference between what I'm doing now and the big dark black marks I was doing before is I'm using the glaze to knock back the lights on this, the rim light, just a touch. What platform am I painting on? On Run. I'm on Photoshop right now. I think that's the question. If you're talking about computer, it's a PC, Windows 10. All right. That is some silliness. All right, let's do something I always enjoy doing. Let's go back. Let's take a look. Let's go back through time and turn off these layers and see what we added, where we added it, and what we got rid of. We're going backwards basically in the exact order that these things were painted. I'm going to go ahead and delete these two layers. Right? I didn't have that one on anymore, right? Right? Come on now. Got to double check just to be sure. Okay, this one. This one was dead. Okay, so those two we can throw away. Boop. All right, going back. That's our multiply glaze. Some opaque fill. Specular detail. Glow. Texture. Line. See how fast that happened? So this is where we started with color, and that's what I meant when I said about 70% finish, 75% finish, because the rest of it is just figuring out the detail, figuring out the final materials. Got the lighting. This was our original sketch. That's where we started today. Right there. Now let's try and turn it all back on. We'll go through one by one. It's always fun to look at and see what textures stayed all the way up to the top. Yeah, that's where it really started coming together, huh? Boom. Done. Ship it. We're done. Huzzah. Excelsior. Thank you all so much for hanging out today and putting up with a crash and all that stuff and loot. We lost our file, but we made it. We went ahead and did something else that was kind of cool and fun. So saved it a whole bunch of times. Daniel O, thank you so much for following today. Yeah, it was really fun hanging out, guys. It was a good chat. Learned a bunch of stuff. Hopefully you had fun, and we will see you next time. My next show's on Thursday at noon, earlier for the UK crowd. I still haven't worked out the new schedule for the Eastern European groups, but we'll get that all sussed out in the near future. Cypher, that's awesome. Thank you. Russell, cheers. Thank you, gang. Thank you so much for hanging out. Yeah, I will see you all real soon. Try to stay sane tonight. Stay safe. Things will get figured out if you're here in the States with me. It was great. Good to see you all. All right, take it easy. As always, paint smart, paint sexy. I'm Izzy, a professional writer, concept artist, and illustrator. I've taught painting for a dozen years or so, on and offline. Many of your favorite illustrators and designers have studied with me or under me and have gone on to teach in their own right. You're here because, like they did, you want to learn to paint realistically for illustration or concept art. Well, worry not. You're in the right place. Grab a seat. I want you to join me as I explain all the aspects of image making in extremely digestible and clear monthly lessons. Not through the lens of silly how to paint hair or eye demos. That shit is carnival tricks. And you're not really learning anything except an exact way to render one thing in one manner. This is painting mysticism at its worst. Watching these kinds of exploitative lessons won't help you level up with your understanding. Sure, now you can paint sparkly hair, but what if you want to paint a dragon, or figure out how to render a sea of fire, or depict a one-eyed transgender space marine dying in the vacuum of space? Painting and image making are tools of communication, and can be learned by anyone willing to put in some time. Like grammar is for language, light, color, and form literally follow a formula. Painting well is not a matter of chicken bones, zombie crackers, and the ever-dismissive concept of talent. Learning with my series, Izzy's Logic of Light and Color, will give you the tools and understanding so you can analyze light and form in reality and bring it to life in your work. Using this simple system I have distilled will help you harness your art to share your ideas as you've always intended. When we are children, we all draw in symbols. Symbols for our house, our hands, the sun, the grass, our pet lobster. As we grow into artists, we must learn to throw away symbols and begin to draw and paint what it is we actually see. And as we grow further, we learn to paint beyond what we see and what is actually there. Until finally we move beyond this and learn to trim away what is actually there so we voice only what we want. With me, you're going to have to buckle in and maybe take some pain meds, because I'm going to rip out your normal person's eyes and replace them with a painter's eyes. I'm going to restructure how you see and how you understand what you're seeing. I'm going to turn you into a painting machine. Truly, anyone can learn to paint realistically if they can both determine what they're seeing or imagining with basic and straightforward rules. Once you understand the mechanics of light, color, and form in reality, you will have the capacity to paint anything you can see or imagine realistically. After that, the real fun begins. Here are some of the ways you can join me and master the logic of light and color. The very first lesson of my series is totally free on my YouTube channel. In that lesson, I give you the 3 primary rules of light that are the very foundation of painting and understanding light itself. If you do nothing else to make your painting mastery easier, at least watch this amazing little lesson. It will do more for your basic understanding of light than just about any tutorial you can find. When you're ready to get deeper and you feel like you have those first rules figured out, allow me to utterly blow your mind with the next episodes available on Gumroad and ArtStation. As we go deeper into the rules underlying the logic of light and color, I carefully and simply explain important and interesting elements. From beginner to pro, there is an amazing amount of information available. Each concept has been distilled into the clearest explanation you're likely to find anywhere. Like episode 2, where we cover the atmospheric effect and how that relates to light, scale, and distance of objects in reality, and how to render it. Or episode 3, where I hand over the ultimate key to controlling value in your paintings. Episodes 5 through 8 are all about rendering materials. Want to understand the logic behind rendering metal, leather, hair, transparency, damn near anything. I even cover the logic behind painting special effects like fire, neon, or lightsabers in later episodes. The lessons just get deeper and more detailed as I build on the foundations covered in preceding episodes. The 10th gives you the most important rule of composition you'll ever learn to keep your images interesting. The next few episodes cover important painting techniques like my edge control ninjutsu or simplification with the large to small system. We dip a toe in color theory, devote a few episodes to finishing full-blown illustrations utilizing the techniques we've learned so far. Some episodes, like the lighting game or Advanced Exercises 1, the shirt, present cheap, valuable, and practical exercises to give you explosive growth in your development. Episodes 22 through 25 cover painting and illustration just like I do for Magic the Gathering, from assignment and inception to signing the painting at the end. Each one is full of tips, knowledge, everything to make working as an illustrator easier. Did you enjoy learning how to paint basic materials? Metal, wood, and such? I got 3 whole episodes devoted to the intricate logic behind painting different kinds of skin. After that, more lessons devoted to pumping life into your portraits and original methods for accurately drawing faces out of your head. From fundamentals to photo bashing, Gumroad and ArtStation have every lesson I create available for purchase a la carte. But here's an even better way to learn with me. Stay current with my latest lessons on Patreon for the lowest price available. Monthly support gets my student that month's lesson, a critique or paint over of their finished work, a discount code for 25% off the entire Gumroad archive, and access to the Logic of Light and Color Discord community, where we plan future lessons, share knowledge, and learn together as a team. The absolute best method is to join my Patreon classroom at the Student Plus tier, where you'll get everything I just mentioned and a free episode from the archive every month to accelerate your mastery at your own pace. You've decided to take control of your painting and master Izzy's logic of light and color. Now it's up to you to choose the path that's best for you. I'll see you on the flip side. Paint smart, paint sexy.